Hey guys, so been a long time since I posted an El Camino video update, but this is my El Camino, 68 El Camino. It's going on a 2001 Chevy Tahoe four-wheel drive frame, and I'm trying to use most of Tahoe running gear and dash components so that I have all the modern stuff. I've actually gotten a lot of work done in the past, I'd say month or so, compared to the last 4 or 5 years. I stopped working on it for a while because it got a little monotonous and it got a little hard to do with shuffling everything else that was going on in my life. But I'm back to it, and I've got the seats in, I've got seat belts in it, I've got a lot of components mounted up front for the tilt forward front end. Oh, what else have I got done? I got the windshield and the back glass areas redone so that they're no longer rusted out and going to be a problem. Yeah, well, we'll get into it and I'll show you a couple of these things. So starting off with the seats. I got the seats mounted. I used, what is it, second row stow and go seating out of a 2015 Dodge Caravan or Chrysler Town & Country. I think they're the same thing. But I made these brackets right here. They're kind of a slide bracket, the two bolts that hold the back of the seat down. And then one hole for a bolt to come up through and tighten the seat on so it actually won't move. These secure the back, the one bolt secures the front. I had to make a modification to my floor because it actually bulged out right here and it wouldn't let the seat slide without really rubbing on the floor pan there and causing it to bind up. So made a little modification to the floor, the seat brackets. As for the seat, these are the two bolts right here that I had to weld with a space underneath them so they slide on that. This is just a support bolt, this is a spacer bolt, and the nut that you're going to run the bolt through is actually welded in part of the seat frame right here. So spacers to keep it the right height, same height as the bracket that's welded inside that these clip into, and the one bolt in the front that holds it all secure. The second thing I did is I got some seat belts in it. I believe they're 2013 Dodge Ram rear seat belts. So they're not the airbag seat belts, they're just a standard seat belt. I used diamond plate. You can see a good picture of the diamond plate over there. Made some brackets, made a big piece of diamond plate up top, a little bit of overkill for the seat belt mount up top, a little bit of overkill for the seat belt mount down on the bottom. Now since I had to cut that hole in the pillar, if I wouldn't have put the box behind it, you can kind of see the galvanized steel that I made a box out of to box that area in. If I wouldn't have done that, that hole would have gone all the way over the wheel wells, all the way back to the taillight. I didn't want air and everything flowing through there, having a whistle from somewhere in the back echo around in the cab. So that's why I made that box behind the diamond plate, to kind of seal that off. And then the diamond plate over it to actually mount the seat belt. I think it's a little overkill, but better be overkill than underkill and have something falling apart and get in an accident and have the seat belt come loose from the pillar there. So diamond plate, it's yellow. It's a piece of diamond plate that I've had in my shed for 10 or 15 years. Just never had a use for it until now. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the ceiling yet, the roof. I don't have a headliner. I don't really want to put a stock headliner in it, so I might just leave it kind of rustic. Take these bars out and just leave it kind of the way it is. Put some rust board over the ceiling or something. As for the engine compartment, because I made the tilt forward front end, you have to mount everything on the firewall. You have to make your own brackets for the radiator support. It gets a little intricate when you're making brackets for everything because everything's got to fit underneath your tilt forward. It's got to fit so your tilt doesn't come back into it. I wanted to keep as many components from the Chevy Tahoe that I could, so if something went wrong, say the AC condenser went bad, I could go to Chevy or go to a wrecking yard and get another one. It makes life a lot easier down the road. So that's a stock radiator, stock condenser, stock tranny cooler, stock power steering cooler over there. Now the radiator, I did shave off the upper mount. It's usually got a big plastic, this plastic extends up so it mounts to the radiator support of the truck. I shaved that off to get it out of the way. The overflow, I mounted back here. It's got its own little mount. It's almost welded in. This hose obviously has to get longer, and this hose has to get longer because it has to go back there. But I can get longer hoses from any auto parts store and make that work. Around to the other side. If you can look underneath there, that's my ECM. ECM stands for engine control module. It usually sits up here underneath the battery on a stock truck. So I had to do a little bit of work to kind of reroute the wires and get it back there. It's the only place I really had to mount it. It is kind of close to my header. As you can see, the header's there. This is the wire. It needs to get kind of pushed back out of the way, get a little more spacing. I'm going to find a way to make a heat shield that's going to go in there to keep the heat from the header away from my ECM. I couldn't find any other place to mount my ECM, so that's where it's going to be until something happens and I have to relocate it. Hopefully I don't have to do that. Now my fuse box is up here, not completely mounted yet, but it's got a little tray, needs some reinforcement done to it. Cruise control is still in the same place. The battery usually sits up front here, but this battery is going to get relocated. I believe I want to put it behind the driver's seat in its own box that's vented to the outside. So it's kind of coming together, little bits at a time. I do have the stock Chevy windshield wipers going in here. I had to modify the swing on them. If you look at my hood, I had to cut out grooves in my hood for the windshield wipers to come up through and swing on the windshield. I still have to box those areas in, clean them up a little bit. There's some open area in the hood right there. And right here, these little areas need to get filled in, welded up. And then of course I had to do a lot of work in this cowl area. I used some steel sheeting to close this in after I got the Tahoe cowl welded in here so the windshield wipers would fit and bolt up. Oh, little bits and pieces. What else did I do? The windshield itself, you see this strap, this was all rusted out. So I had to go through and grind out all that old metal. I got it down to just this piece of sheet metal that goes up underneath it, and it was still rusty, real flimsy. So I took flat strap, bent it around, tacked it in there, welded it in, so the windshield actually has something to urethane itself to. I'm not going to use the stock way of putting a windshield in this car or the back glass. Stock, they use a sticky type of butyl tape with the chrome moldings around to help hold it in. I don't want the chrome moldings around it. I'm going to shave those. It's just going to be held to my urethane. This pinch weld right here, it's not very wide stock, so it's not a lot of bite for that urethane to grab onto. I wanted more of a bite. So I took a piece of round stock and I welded it all the way around to give it a 1/4 inch more. And I still haven't ground the windshield all the way down, but I've ground part of it down. The back glass is done. I got a piece of 1-inch box tubing and then just cut it to fit in there so it'd be open, because this trough was rusted out from the stock El Camino. Now it is an 1/8 inch taller, so I'm hoping the back glass has enough give. It's not going to rub up against here, otherwise I have to make a custom back glass because I didn't sink this down in. I didn't actually cut it out and sink that down in. And I still have to finish welding in here. The 1/4 inch round stock is welded in and ground down all the way around here. So you have plenty of room for that urethane to bite on to the metal and then the glass to hold it in. Eventually, I'll shave these pinch welds here. I'll box this in so there's no chrome around the bed either. And I'll make myself a tailgate because I don't have a tailgate and I don't feel like buying one. I'd rather make one. As for that, the only other thing I need to find a place for is the windshield washer bottle, which is usually on that side over there. I don't even have one yet. I have the stock one over there, but it's kind of a funky shape, so I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. I've got the El Camino steering wheel, fits on the 2001 Chevy Tahoe steering column with the adapter that was on the El Camino itself. So I got kind of lucky there. I can keep the El Camino steering wheel. I don't have any airbags in this car. I made my dash custom, so there's no airbags. I took the OnStar, the GPS, the navigation, all that out of the wiring. So there's no Uncle Sam following me around for anybody that's paranoid about that. I just didn't want the extra hassle. I didn't want something going out and then having to worry about having a light on my dash. So I took all that stuff out of my wiring, and if I have a problem later, I'm going to have a computer guy clean up my programming so I don't have little lights on because I'm missing those components. But other than that, that's a little update for anybody following the El Camino project. I'll link this one to a couple of my other El Camino videos, and I'll keep working on it little by little. Maybe put another update in a month or so. So if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button down in the corner, hit that like button. Don't forget to tune in next time for the next video. Might be a tool update. Who knows what I'll do. Guys, take it easy and go make something.